quadratic formula, this is just one formula to learn by heart. And once you got it by heart, then you just apply it. So it's not that difficult, but of course you have to be able to calculate without making mistakes in general. This is always a requirement, and then memorize the formula, just write it down, insert the numbers, and then you got it. So not that difficult, but the thing you have to do is learn the formula by heart and really know it by heart for the exam. So we have an equation like this. This is always the basic problem for the application of the quadratic formula. And what you need then is, of course, you can see it here. This is the quadratic formula, the second line. So you just have to put in the numbers that you have. So this is your problem given, and you put in the numbers A, B, and C, and put those numbers in the formula, and then you just calculate it. So not that difficult. You need to know the formula, and I will show you the calculation with an example.
What is the quadratic formula? Actually very easy. The quadratic formula, we need to solve quadratic equations. So what is a quadratic equation? This looks like the following. Quadratic equation always has the form ax to the power of 2 plus bx plus c equals 0. It has already this form, or it may be transformable to this form. So maybe we have some d here on the right side, but d and c we can already always put together like d, then we say minus d, then we have c minus d, if we had something like this. But let's assume it looks like this. Then we can solve this equation with the quadratic formula, which looks like the following. So we have actually two solutions, mostly x1 and x2, which are minus b plus minus the root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So this is what you have to know about quadratic formula. It looks maybe a little bit strange, but if you practice a lot, this won't be a problem, I think. It's just important that you know this formula by heart. Then you just put in the A, B, and C, and then you know the solution. So it's not too difficult, actually. There are way more difficult problems in mathematics. This, I think, if you know the formula, no problem at all. Just to pay attention not to make any mistakes in the calculation. So one thing I want to explain is why we have two solutions, and the reason is when we have square root of 25. What is it? Okay, you may already know the answer, but let's just pretend to be stupid and we calculate it with a calculator. So what will the calculator say? The calculator always says, in this case, 5. But the problem is that when I have minus 5 to the power of 2, okay, this is maybe, I have to write it differently, we have minus 5 like this, then you see it's also 25. So we see when we have 5 to the power of 2 or minus 5 to the power of 2, both equals 25. So the thing is, we should always write plus minus 5. So this is where it comes from. The calculator always assumes this is positive, but we know, as I just explained, it can also be negative. So since the calculator always says positive, we say in one case it is as the calculator says, and in the other case we say it can also be negative. Just to explain why plus minus, so maybe it helps you also to memorize the formula better. So we just have a look at an example. So we have x to the power of 2, or we can also say 1x to the power of 2, that's the same, plus 5x minus 84 equals 0. So this is an exercise, and the exercise says, or asks, what is x? What is the solution to this? It can also be that this is a function, right, maybe f, and the question is, where does the function have zeros? So you set the function 0 and you calculate x. It's the same procedure, so whether you have a function given or just this equation and you should calculate x, is always the same. It's a quadratic equation, and for a quadratic equation you need the quadratic formula. So how to apply it? In this case it's not too difficult. We just take the coefficients, this one. So this is called a. This is the coefficient of the x with the power of 2. Next one is 5. In this case, that's our b. And the minus sign belongs together because we said it is plus c. So plus minus c if you want. So this is our c, which we then put into our formula. So let's just do it. And we have x1, x2 equals minus b, minus 5, plus minus root of what? B to the power of 2 is 25. Minus 4 times a times c. So this is maybe a little bit complicated. Minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 84. 336. In this case, plus, right? Because we said minus 4ac, and I already included the minus here in this calculation, so it finally is a plus. Then we divide it by 2a, which is 2 in this case, and then we are almost finished. Then we just have to make it look a little bit nicer. But this is the solution, but we just have to calculate a little bit to make it look nice. So we have minus 5 plus minus 336 plus 22, 361, and sometimes it's the outcome looks ugly, but in this case we take the square root, we see the outcome is 19, and so it's a nice number. So if it's a nice number, we can calculate it like this. If it's not a nice number, we better stick with the square root notation. In this case, 19 looks good. Then divided by 2. And then we can write the solutions separately. So it's minus 5 plus 19 divided by 2. And the second one is minus 5 minus 19 divided by 2. 19 minus 5 is 14. Divided by 2. Then we receive what? Minus 14. This should be plus. So it is 7. And in this case, minus 5 minus 19 is minus 24. Divided by 2 is minus 12. So this is a solution, and now it always of course depends on what the question was. If the question was where does the function have zeros, then we can say okay, 1 0 is plus 7, 1 0 is minus 12, but of course it depends on the question, and then just have to make sure that the professor or teacher can see what the solution is, and in this case also pay always attention so that your calculation also always looks nice, that it's easy to see where you might have made some problems, some mistakes, but in this case everything is fine. And this is a solution. That's how it works. You shouldn't learn the formula by heart, I think. At least that's how I did it. It's maybe a little bit difficult to derivate it from the quadratic equation. Just learn it by heart, then you can also apply it very quickly in exams, and that's what matters, right? Okay, thanks for watching.
Practice makes perfect. Further exercises with solutions you can find on my website, which is www.worksheets.com.